Hey guys, so this part of the message was actually supposed to be either in the middle or at the end of the full message that you're about to hear. Now, I decided to put this part in here because I forgot to include it in the full message. And I thought if I added it in at the end, some of you might miss it. So I put it at the beginning instead so that you wouldn't miss it. I want y'all to get everything that's for you. I want y'all to get this full word. So there is a part of the full message where I will mention that the woman in my dream was wearing a dress and there was a bow at the back of the dress, and the bow reminded me of an old-fashioned curtain cord. That is an indication that that word is connected to your kingdom marriage somehow. So that's the part of the message that I did not include. Now you can go and listen to the full message. It's going to kick in right after this, and this part will make sense, okay? So I'll see you guys in a little bit. What's good, R&B Squad? This is Out of Ruth. I trust that this message meets you guys in good spirits. If you are new to this family, we don't believe that you're here by accident. Welcome. We're happy to have you, and Jesus is, of course, always happier. So I have a word, and as per usual, as you listen, you'll know whether or not it is for you. If you can relate to some things, but not everything, y'all know how we do it here. Eat the meat, spit out the bone, take what's for you, and leave the rest. Now, the word comes from a dream that I had and a couple scriptures that the Lord gave to me and some things that he showed to me in the spirit. And this word may tie in for some of you with the word that I put out yesterday. So I'm going to put that word in the description box for those of you who have not seen it yet. You know what? Hold on. Let me sit back and get comfortable because this may take a while. This is going to get nice and long. So bear with me and BBJ, Big Brother Jesus. Get yourselves a drink of, I don't know, your favorite beverage, some water, some tea, whatever that the case might be, whatever you like. And just be ready to hang out with me and Big Brother Jesus for a while. This is going to take some time. So let me start with the dream. That's the simplest place to start. And then I'll build as I go along. In this dream, there was this young lady. There were actually two women. What I should point out is that the first woman was a bit older than the second woman. So the second woman was a very young woman, and the first woman looked like she could be in her late 20s to early 30s. She looked like she could be anywhere between, let's say, 29 and 35. So they were both young women, but the second woman was significantly younger. The second woman looked like she could be in her late teens or her early 20s. So it was a young lady. And the first woman, what I noticed about her is that she moved with so much grace. This is the older one. She moved with so much grace, and she was so nicely dressed. I remember looking at her dress and thinking, wow, where did she get that dress? It was a really pretty dress, and it looked as though she was getting ready for a special occasion. And the interesting thing is that there was this bow on the back of the dress, and I feel the need to mention this because this may be a hint or a clue to someone, because there was emphasis put on the bow, okay? There was this bow on the back of the dress, and something about the bow reminded me of one of those old-fashioned curtain cords. And not even in an unflattering way, like it suited the dress perfectly. And it was clearly a bow that was meant to be on the back of a dress, but it reminded me of one of those old-fashioned curtain cords. And it was tied in a very pretty bow at the back of this lovely dress that this woman was wearing. And she was just moving around, you know, sort of like floating in the room. That's how she looked, like she was floating. And she was just talking to people. Some of the people she was talking to were her family members. She just looked at peace. There was an air of peace about her. What I noticed about the second woman, the young lady, is that she kept looking at this woman and the expression on her face was not pleasant. She would look at her and there was almost this look of hatred and envy on her face. I saw it in her eyes. It's like she wanted to scratch the other woman's eyes out. And one of the things I noticed is that it would alternate between admiration. So one minute she would look at the woman as if she was admiring her, and then the next minute the admiration looked like it would be overtaken by envy and hatred. So it's like she's feeling all of these emotions, and I can tell that she's feeling them and she's struggling with them while she looks at this woman. Now, what I noticed about this young girl is that there seemed to be a darkness following her, like this darkness hovering over her. It's hard to explain, but it almost looked like a shadow was following her everywhere she was going. So, in the same way that the older woman had this air of peace about her, this younger woman had like a shadow following her. And it didn't seem like her shadow. That's the weird part. It did not seem like her shadow, but it was following her nonetheless. We'll get into that later and what that means. So now at a certain point, the younger lady confronts the older woman, and she starts spewing all of these hateful words at her. And she says, "I hate you. I want to hate you. I hate you." And it was interesting that she said, "I want to hate you." It's like she was trying to make up her mind as to whether or not to hate this woman. And then she said, "You have all of these things. Why do you have all of these things at your age? Why have you accomplished all of these things at your age? I hate you." And the first woman looks at her, and she's startled because she doesn't expect that this young girl would say this to her. It seemed as though she knew the young girl from somewhere. Like this young girl was the relative of somebody that she knew. And she didn't bear any ill will to this young girl. So she was taken aback by the attack of words. And so she begins to try to explain, "Well, the stuff that I have, I didn't really gain all these things overnight. I worked for them. And if you look at my age compared with yours, you would see that you have time to catch up, that there's time to do all of the things that I did, to accomplish all of the things that I did, because you're still pretty young." But it didn't matter. It's like this young lady thought that there was no way she would ever be like this woman who was older than her. And she was spitting out all of this hatred that really did not make sense. Because if you're such a young person, you're in your late teens or your early 20s, there's time to build. There's time to explore your dreams. There's time to set goals and accomplish them. So there is no reason, if anything, you should be looking up to an older woman, a woman who's older than you, who has accomplished certain things, as somebody who can mentor you, as somebody who can teach you. It doesn't make any sense being envious of this person. But get this, the shadow that was following her was not hers. Also, I need you guys to pay attention to the fact that she was a relative of someone that the older woman knew. She was a relative. She had some sort of connection to someone that the older woman knew. And this attack was totally unexpected. The older woman, and when I say older woman, you guys bear in mind that I don't necessarily mean somebody who's elderly. I mean that she was just older than the young girl that was spewing all of this hatred. Okay? She wasn't expecting this attack from this young lady. She just wasn't. But at the same time, I saw this man come to the older woman. He came to her and he started guiding her along, like he was just guiding her along and telling her what to do about the situation. And that was the end of the dream. And as I was waking up and I was talking to the Lord about it, he started explaining certain things to me, and I heard the word confession. I heard the word confession, and then following that, I heard the word destruction. So it's a couple of things that the Lord had to break down to me in the spirit about that dream. So now there is somebody that you know, if this word is for you. And it could be a male or it could be a female. Even though I was shown two females in this dream, a man can relate to this as well. You could be a man and you could be going through this as well. But there is somebody that you know, and you know of them and they know of you. And the reason why the two of you know of each other is because this person is related to or connected to somebody who matters to you in some way. So they're connected to somebody that you have some kind of relationship with, whether it's an important professional relationship or it's an important personal relationship. You know of this young person, and let me put emphasis on the fact that it is a young person because of their connection or their affiliation with this person who is important to you, that you have an important relationship with. And so, this young person, they know of you, but they don't really know you. All they know are the things on the surface. And this young person, remember in the dream, the young lady had a shadow following her that was not hers. This darkness was following her that did not seem to be coming from her. It just seemed to be hovering over her. So what that tells me, as the Lord broke down to me, is that this young person is being influenced to hate you. Notice that she said in the dream, I want to hate you. Why would she say that? If you either hate somebody or you don't. She is saying, I want to hate you. So that right there is a big sign that somebody or something is influencing this young person. So this young person has been in communication with an older person, most likely an older person. Because one of the things that she said to this woman, that I recall her saying to this older woman, is that you have more things than people who are the same age or just a few years younger than you. So that in itself didn't even make sense if you take it in the context of her being envious of this older woman. Why would you mention that you have more things than some people? Why would she mention to this woman that she has some things or more things than some of the people who are the same age with her or a little bit younger than her? That tells me that she was having this discussion with somebody else, somebody who may have been closer to this woman's age, someone who really did hate this woman because this woman had accomplished things that they hadn't accomplished. And so what they were doing is they were poisoning this young person against this older woman. See, they were too cowardly to attack you themselves. So now they have to recruit people to attack you. They didn't want to hate you all by themselves. So they had to recruit people to hate you. And they had to select someone who would not be someone that you would suspect. Because in this dream, this woman really wasn't expecting this kind of thing to come out of the mouth of this young girl. It didn't seem to make any sense. But again, she was being followed by this shadow, this darkness that didn't come from her. So what that means in waking life is that this young person, this person that has attacked you, whether or not this attack has already happened or is about to happen, they are being influenced by somebody who may be closer to your age or maybe your age or possibly older. And this person is filling their head with nonsense about you to get them to hate you enough to attack you. That's where that is coming from. But here's the thing. Even though all of these people are coming together to attack you and trying to catch you in a vulnerable position where they can hit you where it hurts, God is with you. Notice in the dream that that man came and started guiding the older woman and telling her what to do in the situation. And the Lord led me to Galatians 5 verse 23. Now when these people start coming for you and you haven't done anything to them, it may be hard for you to hold your peace. It may be difficult for you to not retaliate because some of y'all, even though y'all know the Lord, you're not averse to the idea of putting people in their place. And you may not do so in a very nice manner. So God, you see, that man that was guiding that woman in the dream represented the Lord himself. And that is what the Lord is doing. The Lord is going to show you how to navigate your way around this attack, how to not retaliate, how to not stoop to these people's level. So, as I was saying, he led me to Galatians 5 verse 23. And I'm reading from the Amplified Bible. But the fruit of the Spirit, the result of his presence within us, is love, unselfish concern for others, joy, inner peace, patience, not the ability to wait, but how we act while we are waiting, kindness, goodness, and faithfulness. Okay? So the Lord is saying, respond to these people with peace and love. Do not counterattack, because then you would be stooping to their level. What difference would it make between you and them if you stoop to their level? And do not get angry at this young person, because remember that he or she is being influenced by somebody older who is very dark in nature. And the person that is influencing this young person to attack you is the one who really hates you. This young person doesn't really hate you. They're just going off of what they've been fed, what they've been told. And now remember, I heard the words confession and destruction. So after the attack happens, this young person is going to feel very guilty. He or she is going to be overwhelmed by what he or she did. And not just the guilt, but they're going to start to face attacks of their own. And it's going to look like attacks, but it's really the judgment of God. That's what it is. It is the judgment of God. And that is what is going to propel this person, this young person, to admit to what had happened. They're going to come out and confess to what they did and why they did it and who put them up to it. And the Lord led me to some scripture about that as to how he's going to go about dealing with that. Now, you see what's unfortunate about this young person who allowed this older person to influence them negatively, to attack you, is that now they have to face the consequences of their actions. And if this hasn't happened yet and it's about to happen, they will have to face the consequences of their actions. They don't get off scot-free because somebody else put them up to it. They should have exercised wisdom. The young lady that I saw in the dream was in her late teens or her early 20s. So that's old enough to know right from wrong. And I don't care what influence somebody has over you. You should ask questions. You should use good judgment. You should not just begin to fight somebody else's battle for them without knowing all of the facts. And you shouldn't get involved in something that doesn't concern you. Not to that extent anyway, where you're attacking somebody on somebody else's behalf. Now, why would you do that? Now, that's a complicated situation in itself. Some of these people who are influencing these younger people, whoever is influencing this younger person, may be holding something over his or her head, like, I did this for you, I did that for you, so now you owe me. So it's a complicated situation. But know this, the person who is influencing the younger person to attack you, they're not going to go unpunished. They're going to get their just desserts, believe me. They'll get theirs. That goes without saying. Because causing somebody else to stumble, as they caused this young person to stumble and commit this act, is a serious offense in the eyes of God, especially when you're older and you know better. You are older and you got more common sense than this young person, so you know what you're doing. And you manipulated the situation to put them right in the line of fire. So they do your dirty work for you, and then you get to stay hidden and concealed, or so you think. But they're going to get their just desserts. So the Lord led me to Isaiah 3, verses 16 to 26. Because the daughters, and this is kind of harsh, guys. When the Lord led me to this scripture and I read it, I said, oh my Lord. I said, this is a harsh punishment. But you know what? I don't get to question God and how he deals with people. This is the scripture, Isaiah 3, 16 to 26. Because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with outstretched necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, making a jingling with their feet. Therefore the Lord will strike with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will uncover their secret parts. In that day the Lord will take away the finery, the jingling anklets, the scarves and the crescents, the pendants, the bracelets and the veils, the headdresses, the leg ornaments and the headbands, the perfume boxes, the charms and the rings, the nose jewels, the festal apparel and the mantles, the outer garments, the purses and the mirrors, the fine linen, the turbans and the robes. And so it shall be, instead of a sweet smell there will be a stench, instead of a sash a rope, instead of well set hair baldness, instead of a rich robe a girding of sackcloth, and branding instead of beauty. Your men shall fall by the sword, and your mighty in the war. Her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit on the ground. Now there's something here. There's a part here that says, and the Lord will uncover their secret parts. That tells me exposure. So this young person that has been set up to attack you, it's some things, they've got some skeletons in the closet. And God is like, okay, you know what? Since you came from my child and you didn't use common sense, and you didn't use discernment as to whether or not this was a battle you even wanted to fight, I am going to expose you. And so much is going to come down on this young person at once that they're going to be put in a position where they have to confess. They're going to confess about what they did because they can't take the heat. And not only are they going to confess, they're also going to say who put them up to it. So both individuals are going to be exposed. And now for some of you, they may not come directly to you and confess. They may confess it to the person. Remember I said that this young person is somebody who's connected to somebody who means a lot to you in some way, somebody who has an important relationship with you in some way, whether it's professional or personal. They may go to that person and confess about what they did and who put them up to it. And then that person is going to come to you and let you know. There's going to be some apologies taking place. Do not expect an apology from the person who put them up to it, though, because they knew exactly what they were doing and they wanted to do it. This wasn't something that they didn't plan on doing. They planned it out, and they were too cowardly to attack you directly, so they had to set somebody else up to do it so that their hands could supposedly stay clean, as if it's clean. You manipulate somebody, your hands are not clean. But the Lord showed me in the spirit this woman who was crying. She was just crying uncontrollably, and I came to understand that she had lost something. She had experienced a very deep loss. And it was because of something that she had done. There was something vicious and nasty that she had done, and because of that, she experienced a great loss. And as she was weeping about this loss, I saw a dove go by outside the window behind her. And the dove was headed someplace else. It wasn't headed to the room where she was. It was headed someplace else. So the Lord is saying, you need to give thanks. Even though you were attacked, even though this individual may have attacked you, even though they may have put people up to attacking you, so they recruited others to attack you. They were attacking you themselves, and then they recruited others to do the same thing. They've been defeated. The enemy working through them, because we wrestle not against flesh and blood, has been defeated. And because the enemy working through them has been defeated, they have been defeated. You have been praying all this time, and the Lord has been with you. And unbeknownst to you, in your prayers, you have heaped coals of fire on your enemy's head. Because you pray for these people. You pray and you ask the Lord to help them to have an experience with you that turns their life around so that they're no longer the way they are. So that they're no longer the way they are. And so in doing this, you have heaped coals of fire on your enemy's head. And now you need to give God thanks because the storm is over. They are going to receive their just deserts. This woman was mourning a loss. This woman that I saw, she was mourning a loss. And there will be peace where there wasn't peace before. And there will be reconciliation where things were broken or broken apart because of this attack. So that's the message, guys. I hope it wasn't too long. And I hope it brings some clarity to those who need it. I hope it blessed those whom it is for. I love you guys. I will be back with another word as soon as the Lord releases me. Take care.